Have you ever had that feeling where you're just financially stuck? You know, you're working hard, money's coming in, money's going out, but at the end of the year, it feels like you're in the exact same spot. Well, today we're going to talk about how to build the system that fixes that, for good. This isn't about some get-rich-quick thing. It's about building an architecture to capture and grow the money you already make.
All right, let's just dive right in. A recent Federal Reserve survey found that a whopping 65% of American professionals feel like their retirement savings are off track. 65%! If you feel that way, you are definitely not alone. But the most important thing to grasp about this feeling is this. This feeling of being stuck, it's not a personal failing. It's not about a lack of willpower or not being disciplined enough. It is purely and simply a problem with the system you're using. You know, a faulty system is always going to give you a faulty result, no matter how much effort you pour into it. So just how big is this fault? Okay, get this. Over a 30-year career, a person earning a pretty typical salary will have almost $2 million pass through their hands. $2 million. And yet, the median retirement balance for someone getting close to that finish line is only about $185,000. That's not a small leak. That's a total structural collapse. The money was there. The system just had no way to capture and hold on to it. So, let's get into the weeds and diagnose this collapse. Where are all the leaks? It really comes down to two big failures that we need to wrap our heads around. What I call the gravity problem and the velocity problem. First up, the gravity problem. The average American home span is being weighed down by over $105,000 in consumer debt. I mean, that is a heavy anchor, actively pulling your financial life downward. But it's not just the weight, it's the engine that's attached to it. You know that amazing force, compounding, the one that builds fortunes? Well, for most people, that engine is actually running in reverse. When you've got credit card interest rates over 20%, you are fighting a losing battle against negative compounding. Your wealth isn't just failing to grow, it's actively being eaten away. And second, we've got the velocity problem. Right now, the personal savings rate is hovering at a tiny 3.8%. But pretty much every financial expert agrees that to have a comfortable retirement, that number needs to be way up, closer to 15%. That gap, that's the real leak in the whole system. So what's the actual cost of that leak? Well, that missing 11% of your income adds up to nearly $700,000 in lost wealth over a 30-year career. That is the price you pay for having a poorly designed financial architecture. So why does this happen? I mean, why do smart, hardworking people fall into this trap? The answer isn't on a spreadsheet. It's actually in our own heads. Let's take a look at the built-in brain programming that keeps us stuck. Okay, our first culprit is something called hyperbolic discounting. It sounds complicated, but it's simple. Our brains are just hardwired to want stuff now. That little voice that says, I'll start saving next month, that's not you being lazy. That's a neurological feature. The immediate buzz of spending money today just feels more real to our brain than the huge but far-off reward of being financially secure later. And this little choice right here just perfectly exposes that glitch in our thinking. Rationally, of course $100 is better than 50. It's a no-brainer. But our brain's ancient reward system, it just lights up like a Christmas tree for the instant gratification of getting something right now. The only way to beat this is to build a system that makes the decision for you, way ahead of time. The second bias is a big one: loss aversion. Groundbreaking research showed that losing, say, $100 hurts about twice as much as the pleasure you get from gaining $100. And this imbalance leads to terrible decisions, like panic selling when the market dips. You lock in your losses, and you completely destroy that compounding engine we're trying to build. And finally, there's the status quo bias. And this right here is the proof. Look at this. When you have to actively sign up for your company's 401k, only about 60% of people do it. But, and this is amazing, when a company automatically enrolls you and you have to actively leave the plan, participation jumps to over 90%. It's the same people, same plan. The only thing that changed was the system's default setting. This proves the whole point. You don't fix the person, you fix the system. So how do we build a better system? One that actually works with our weird brain wiring instead of fighting against it? Well, we build an engine with 3 interconnected gears that are designed to put wealth creation on autopilot. The process is totally mechanical. It's really straightforward. First gear, we stop the bleeding. We plug those active financial leaks. Second gear, we create an automated system to capture your cash flow and redirect it where it needs to go. And third gear, we just let that engine run and compound while making sure it's protected from, well, from ourselves. Now, the most powerful tool for that second gear, capture and redirect, is the 401k match. I mean, just look at this. You put in $3,900 and your employer just hands you another $1,950 for free. That is an instant guaranteed 50% return on your money before the market does a single thing. If you're not getting this, you are literally just turning down a cash bonus. And inside that engine, you have to be efficient. As the great Warren Buffett points out, a tiny little 1% fee doesn't sound like much, but over decades, it makes an enormous difference. Your architecture has to be low cost. That's why simple, cheap index funds are usually the core part of this whole engine. And that third gear, compound and protect, it's all about this piece of wisdom from Charlie Munger. You build the engine, you put it on autopilot, and then you leave it alone. You build up an emergency fund, so you never have to break into your 401k, and you just let the system do its job without your emotions getting in the way.
So, what happens when you get these gears working together and just let the engine run? Well, the results aren't just a straight line up, they're exponential. Let's look at the actual payoff of having a well-built architecture.
This slide is just mind-blowing. It shows the incredible power of time, the one thing you can never get back. Starting at age 25 versus age 35 with the exact same $500 a month results in a difference of over $650,000. Think about that. That first decade of investing is worth more than the next 30 years combined for the person who started later.
And here you can see the direct impact of just tweaking your savings rate inside the system. Going from the default 3% up to an optimized 15%, yeah, it costs about $500 more a month out of your pocket. But look at the result. It produces almost $900,000 more in long-term wealth. Small, systematic changes create massively different worlds for you down the road.
So look, the evidence for this is just overwhelming. The psychology is documented, the tax code actually rewards you for doing it, and the math, well, the math is the math. It's undeniable. So the question really isn't, does this work? The real question is, what's your first physical, mechanical step to start building it?
Let's make this super actionable. Not someday, but in the next 96 hours. Do these 3 things. First, just log into your work benefits portal and find out what your full 401k match is. Second, make a list of all your debts and order them from the highest interest rate to the lowest. And third, check your emergency fund. Is that cash sitting in a high-yield savings account, or is it earning 0? These 3 little data points, that's the blueprint for your first month of work.
So, the single most important idea to take away from all of this is this. The gap between where you are today and where you want to be financially is not going to be closed by trying harder. It's not about motivation. It's going to be closed by engineering. It's time to stop trying to manage your money with willpower, which we all know runs out, and start managing it with good, solid infrastructure.